kills might be able to slow that command center down at the 9 o'clock position if he hasn't comsetted it already, running up. And this is going to be close. This is actually going to be a big moment for SkyHIgh. If those vultures wander in, no, instead they're going to go directly to the main. And SkyHIgh has no defenses in position. He didn't even need the dropship. They're going to be able to wander into a lot of damage, but SkyHIgh going to go for the jugular in the meantime while Fantasy's distracted. SCV's coming off the line trying to attack there. High ground position though, but only 2 siege tanks, only 1 siege tank left. So this could be disastrous. Fantasy, while going out for that harass out of position, SkyHIgh just barreling down, just investing a ton of siege tanks, and Fantasy not detecting a single Wraith has been produced here for Fantasy as well, but it's not going to be enough. That single Wraith is not going to stop this huge amount of tanks that are bearing down on him now, and the tanks just whittling their way forward here a little bit at a time, and those 2 siege tanks are not going to last long. Fantasy just trying to absorb attacks as best he can, throwing some vultures, the SCVs, anything to stop these attacks, trying to get some economic damage done in the meantime, but it's just not enough. I really don't think it's enough. Fantasy is on the verge of losing his front door. Looks like SkyHIgh is going to end around some of those tanks, make sure the additional tanks can't get in position. Fantasy's definitely going to be locked into 2 bases, maybe even more. Finally, Wraith going to be pushing forward, but I don't think they're going to do enough damage here, especially with that SCV underneath. Looks like they are going to be able to get at least 1 tank before SkyHIgh is able to repair it, but we'll see if... Well, actually, I'm not quite sure that SkyHIgh has put down a armory just yet. This could adjust things. It looks like he's going to try to take out that barracks for spotting as well. That's really an intelligent maneuver right there. Take down the spot so that so the siege tanks have to expend comsat up north. Looks like there is an armory there, so backing up instead. Wraith for spotting here for Fantasy. I think that's another key thing, is that barracks was out of position. He didn't have any vultures underneath, so he really couldn't spot over the edge to get kind of the free hits he wanted. A couple mines planted in the back end. Doesn't look like they were able to take out any tanks, damaging 1 though. And now an attack group flooding out from the north. You can just see the desperation and just kind of the movements from Fantasy, but catching some of SkyHIgh units out of position. This could be the break he needs. If he can take out this attack force, it might even things up. But unfortunately for him, it looks like I think he's bleeding a few more units than he really wanted to. A couple vultures in from behind, but he does have 4 tanks free, a good amount of vultures. SkyHIgh has nothing to protect that. He's gonna have to pull those attack troops back that he was hoping to reinforce the siege tanks. Looks like those Wraiths did manage to get a significant amount of kills, but keep in mind those Wraiths, not siege tanks, and Wraiths are only so effective. They do provide you some maneuverability, they do provide you from some spotting, but unless he can do a lot of damage at that 9 o'clock with those Wraith, it's not going to make much of a difference. Looks like he's moving up in position to do that now, running headlong into some Goliaths that are already there waiting, and I don't think he has cloaking upgraded, having to back off. Looks like some siege tanks over the ridge at least, so Fantasy now getting some position, but it feels like it's just a little bit too little too late. Starport for SkyHIgh being built. Fantasy's been behind a base for quite some time, and really he needs to run in and do some damage. He needs to take out a base, he needs to take out something, kill some SCVs if he's going to get back in this game. It looks like that 1 factory is under assault. That will definitely help things, because either there's going to be a cancel or there's going to be a lift here. And the Wraith actually flooding in, providing some detection, also making sure that that factory, if it lifts off, it's going to take some significant damage, going to the red, might even get taken out. Let's see if some SCVs can pull off to repair this in time. Actually, it looks like that factory is going to get taken out, so that's a big win actually for Fantasy. Just stop some of that production, make up some of the difference here. And here's a dropship out from Fantasy. So Fantasy's actually doing what he's needing to do. He's now getting his 6 o'clock location. He's got a good degree of map position. He's actually shelling over the cliffside edge, but I thought there'd be a large... It looks like SkyHigh's just been so blockaded into that defensive position at that 9 o'clock, so worried about holding that he really hasn't been able to hold his own base. So it looks like Fantasy is whittling his way... whittling again, that's apparently the word of the commentary word this time. He's just inching his way back into this match bit by bit. A couple vultures running through. Looks like they are going to get some SCV kills. That'll definitely create a nice delay, and they might spot those starports. Doesn't look like they are spotting it just yet. I'm not quite sure if they are catching on screen. Wish we had the opposite view. It looks like they're kind of showing the opposite view, but they're not. There's no indication whether he saw the starports in transition or not. SkyHIgh bearing down at the 6 o'clock. He's got a large attack army and only vultures to stop him here. So while Fantasy was just overextending into, looks like SkyHigh's base over that factory line, SkyHIgh took the opportunity to kind of barrel in across the 6 o'clock. Some very nice troop movements on both ends. I have to say though, Fantasy looks like he was the victor in that situation, where he was kind of slipping away, falling economically behind here and there. It looks like he is going to be able to recover the dropships with the vultures now sneaking in, and I really don't know that he should be bothering with this particular base anymore, unless he's doing this right here, going for the supply lines, hitting the siege tanks as they're being produced, taking out a couple factories here and there. But now a couple Wraith out for SkyHIgh as well. He's going to be able to take out that dropship. He's probably going to be able to take out these tanks. Let's see if he goes for the dropship first. Yes, going to be able to take that out without any trouble. That's definitely... Ooh, missed a shot there, so it looks like the dropship is going to sneak out. It is going to live to fight another day. A little bit of a misclick there, I think. I think he counted the shots just a little bit off. Now clearing up that line, and Fantasy scrambling to send a couple more troops out in the field. I think he got caught right when he's popping down another command center. I'm not sure where that's located, though. And so he's a little bit vulnerable at this stage. He's spread out quite a bit. It looks like he's actually building that in the upper left-hand corner. No, I'm sorry, that's SkyHIgh who's floating that out and building it up in the upper left-hand corner. I'm fairly certain. I will try to get a look. No, okay, that was a building. Yeah, okay, that was a command center right there. It looks like it is getting canceled. Another command center being built to try to supplement it. So now a large attack force bearing down. Ooh, siege. Okay, Fantasy did take another command center across that mineral only in the center, so he has been up a base for a little bit of time, but unfortunately it hasn't been producing any gas for him, and really it's gas that he's needed into this central unit. He hasn't even been producing vultures right here. The command center providing a bit of spotting, getting attacked. Losing that, he is going to lose the advantage here, and I think SkyHIgh has more troops on the ground right here. I wish we could get a look at upgrades, because that's really the other indicating factor. Right now it feels like SkyHIgh just has gained the momentum. He's got a good degree of map control. He's pushing through. Let's see if he can secure another gas. Looks like the Wraith just chilling at a defensive position there along the 6 o'clock location. 2 dropships waiting across the 6 o'clock. Looks like a comsat to see if there's anything in the way. SkyHIgh still has his 5 factories up. I'm not quite sure what the... I've got to assume that Fantasy is with that... Well, I'm not sure if he put it down with that additional mineral only. If you'd want to risk that at this stage, he's probably at 5, maybe at 7, but honestly with this troop count, I think he's still at 5 as well. It looks like he's going to push up. He's got some Goliaths. He's trying to press here, and I like this maneuver from SkyHIgh, running across that 6 o'clock. I'm just trying to get some damage here. I'm going to try to make sure that he can't get any production out of this Wraith on Wraith battle here, and it looks like SkyHIgh is going to win this significantly, and there goes any semblance of air control that Fantasy might have had. He can't even spot with his troops. He doesn't have a barracks or a floating building right there, and SkyHIgh now taking a couple of buildings, or a couple expansions himself. That command center still floating up right there, and it looks like SkyHIgh is once again in the lead here. Oh, I think that's weapons 2 that SkyHIgh has upgraded. I think that Fantasy is still at weapons 1, and a couple more SCVs being transferred. They're still mining gas. They're again at the 6 o'clock location. Some Wraiths just getting carelessly killed against that Goliath, almost one at a time. I'm not sure what the purpose of that is. Some Vultures sneaking through for Fantasy, though, to do some economic damage. It looks like they're getting hunted down by those siege tanks, but they're really, yeah, they're worth the minerals right there, killing those SCVs there. Command center floating out again, but there's still a vulture there waiting for it. Wraith now pounding away at the command center otherwise, and you can see all those SCVs huddled around gas. You can see what's on Fantasy's mind is get that gas, stop the gas on the opposite end, and now, ooh, the dropship able to sneak out just in time as those Wraith were running across that area. Really, Fantasy still has to go along that southern route. I don't think he can accomplish anything doing a full end around. Looks like he's going to build a command center of his own to try to angle around the other edge. And SkyHigh's been really sloppy with his Wraith, almost uncharacteristically, I would say. He's lost several Wraith, honestly, just to that single Goliath sitting on the ground. Shouldn't be even bothering to engage. Looks like that barracks is going to burn down that forward position for Fantasy, so he's going to lose a bit of information there. Ooh, there's a single vulture to the north. It looks, I'm not sure if it's going to see that dropship or not, and it looks like SkyHIgh going to get overrun. A couple vultures and some siege tanks that were at that above position. Wraith coming in to try to support, not going to get a lot accomplished there. They're just not fast. They don't do enough damage quick enough to really do anything there. A couple idle SCVs there to the north, which really hurts at SkyHIgh right now. Really needs to hurry up with that, and it looks like before they're even able to produce anything, they're going to get taken out. A couple free hits there for the Wraith, but free hits for the Goliath, taking out, doing a little bit of damage to the command center, but again, SkyHIgh being very, very aggressive with his Wraith, and I think that's hurting him, honestly. And, ooh, SCV's getting killed, command center lifting off once again, and SkyHIgh, I don't know if he can really dedicate troops. It looks like he is going to dedicate troops to move up there, but that is going to allow, again, sloppy with the Wraith, that is going to allow that command center to land at the 3 o'clock position for Fantasy. His mineral only is still lifted up, but if somehow we can get a comsat, something, take this upper left hand portion of the base, SkyHIgh will be okay, but right this second, I don't think he has map control. If Fantasy decided to press out, it doesn't look like he has any attack troops on the ground. So okay, now he's starting to move forward. He does have those dropships. Those Wraith are really kind of the X factor in this game, which is why SkyHIgh has to preserve them, to keep those dropships down, to make sure that those drops don't go across the siege tank line first of all, but additionally don't no additional vultures leak in